Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Have you heard about the 80-20 rule? I think most people who have any kind of management or economics background have heard of this Pareto principle. It's 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. Bob Proctor says this concept is very useful when you're evaluating your daily activities. One task that he suggested for people who are trying to prioritize their life is to keep a log of every single activity that you engage in during the day. And you'll find that 20% of your actions are producing the vast majority of your results. Once you identify these important tasks, then you can take a look at the others, and that's the list that you need to reduce or eliminate. Most people find that there are at least 10% of their activities that are wasting enormous amounts of time. Bob Proctor suggests that if you want to be successful and really go after a dream that you want to completely eliminate the activities that are completely wasting your time. And the remaining tasks could be consolidated and reduced to a specific time frame, or maybe delegated to someone else. He suggests that we be extremely selective of where you put your energies and not allow yourself to be spread too thin. Then you'll be able to focus on tasks that help you reach your goals quickly instead of delaying your success. While you might feel that you lack time, you must take responsibility and know that it is really just a lack of priorities. We all have the same number of hours in the day. How are you spending your precious time? Bob says once you make a list of activities, you might be surprised at how much time you spend on things that are not necessary or don't accomplish anything. He talks about non-productive activities and productive activities. What is wasting your time and what is taking you in the direction of living the life that you truly want? But don't be too hard on yourself. We're trained from childhood to fill every available minute with activity. We don't like being bored. Our minds need stimulation, and the problem arises when we aren't actively thinking about or choosing positive stimulation. Unfortunately, we are masters of inventing distraction. This book that I'm reading from, It's Not About the Money, was written by Bob Proctor quite some time ago. In fact, it was copyrighted in 2009. And in those days, he said, think about the environment that exists in the corporate world. There are a lot of demands that you have to meet, whether you're interested in the activity or not, or whether they produce real value or not. You end up doing large amounts of busy work to justify your position. Have you ever been called to a meeting to discuss the best time to have a meeting? This type of ridiculous redundancy is a daily occurrence, and it's accepted as in the cubicle environment, and it dulls the senses and it removes any scrap of creativity. I think we were programmed to become cogs in the wheel of economy to help somebody else's dreams come true. There are all kinds of studies that reveal the amount of time wasted by employees who are surfing the net or chatting by the water cooler. The bottom line is that a company can purchase your time, but they can't make you productive. After being immersed in this type of environment, it's no wonder that people don't adequately understand the value of their time. The ability to effectively prioritize the activities of each day means you have to value your time. It's a basic self-esteem issue. If you see your life as valuable and meaningful, then you will value your time as well. If you find yourself wasting a lot of time, you probably don't have a strong enough reason to manage your activities in the best way possible. If your life has no meaningful purpose or direction, then you won't really have a compelling reason to change. You might get motivated on occasion, but your motivation to improve just won't last very long. Time management programs seem to present an irresistible lure. They coax you into the promise of greater productivity, more free time, faster income, and higher self-esteem. And some of those benefits may be realized in the short term, but there's always a risk that you find you're investing more and more time in micromanagement activities like getting organized, creating objectives, and learning the latest software. Actually doing the tasks that your program is designed to manage becomes almost an afterthought. Instead of helping you increase productivity, your new program becomes another aspect of busy work, a means to disguise low productivity. Now, Bob Proctor says this is a common problem for people who have not yet identified a purpose for their lives. So that's why he talks about finding a purpose first. A fancy program provides an illusion of productivity, but when you strip it down to its raw, unfiltered source, you find it's devoid of real purpose. When you sum up all the tasks, they amount to nothing but busy work and trivial activities. You must find your purpose first, or any attempt to prioritize activities will be in vain. Without a clear purpose, you have no clear direction. Once you understand your purpose, then you can begin to create actions that align with it. But realizing that prioritizing your activities requires you to decide what to do and then do it. Most tips and advice that you hear on time management focus on getting things done. But if you haven't decided on the best course of action, then engaging in a bunch of activities just makes you feel busy. It's not productive. It doesn't accomplish anything. Maybe you've experienced this frustration. You feel like you know your purpose, but you're continuing to spin your wheels trying to accomplish it. This could be because of a disconnect between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind feels your new ideas and purpose are correct, but your subconscious mind hasn't accepted it yet. This happens pretty frequently. Have you decided what your purpose in life is? When you decide on your purpose, you can make leaps and bounds, the greatest amount of progress toward your goals with the least amount of effort. In order to effectively prioritize, you must know your purpose or your objective. Think about if your purpose is to climb a mountain, it's important to focus on getting to the top of the mountain. It doesn't mean you go around it or focus on camping at the base of the slope. You focus on reaching the peak and you compare all your tasks to that one objective, the ones that move you the farthest and the fastest toward that purpose. Those must be at the top of your list. Time is your scarcest resource. You cannot ever create more time. So when you decide what you really want and you evaluate your task list, first consider the time it's going to take to complete each task in relation to the amount of forward progress that you are going to make. Those tasks that propel you forward in the least amount of time with the greatest reward are ranked higher. You should also evaluate the amount of other resources that a task takes to rank it even more specifically. If you have a goal of releasing a great deal of weight and your purpose is to help others reduce their weight and live healthier lives, you might come up with some tasks like develop a website with articles about weight loss where users can chat, support each other, and sign up for your newsletter. What if you started a blog about your personal experiences and struggles in losing weight to help your clients? And then you could speak to groups about weight loss. You could create a program for weight loss that you could trademark as your own. You could write a book. The first thing you would do is rank these ideas, these tasks, in order of how much time it's going to take. You could design a chart. You're going to start a blog, speak to groups, develop a website, create a program, write a book. How much time are each of these tasks going to take, and which one is going to propel you forward and take you to actually having a business that helps people lose weight? Something like starting a blog doesn't take very much time. It doesn't take any money. It takes nothing away from your family time, and it takes very little physical energy. The only effort will be to send out emails to your group of contacts and let them know you have a blog so they can start reading it and giving you feedback. Decide what you're going to give up in order to go after what you really want. How much time are you taking away from your family? How much time is it going to take to fit your new task into your life? How much energy does it take to prepare to talk in front of a group of people? What tasks are you involved in that take you closer to your goal. And first of all, you have to decide what you're going after. You want to decide on something that you are really interested in. Is your purpose to run a business that helps people lose weight or get stronger or do whatever you love, whatever you're good at? Do you have a calling? Instead of worrying about what people are going to think of you, decide what it's like to be at the end goal. Your business is flourishing, money is pouring in, you're helping so many people, you're passionate, and it shows. But what tasks are not helping you move forward, and what can you do differently to get out there and talk to more people? Oftentimes, people end up feeling kind of having a mental paralysis. The fear of the unknown leads them to put off any decision and procrastinate. Every decision involves a choice between maintaining the status quo, your existing beliefs, and truly making a change. And because we can't guarantee a particular change will work out for the better, by default, many people just stay put. They stay in the comfort zone. Once you are able to develop a healthy mindset, maybe you want to develop a wealthy mindset, you need to set aside the chatter that says, what if? What if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? What are other people going to say about me? You're going to have to get rid of those existing beliefs. Your decisions will need to be quick. Bob Proctor says decisions are actually a direct reflection of who you are and what your purpose is. Each decision confirms the beliefs you have about yourself and the direction that you're traveling. Sometimes we procrastinate on projects because we don't know where to begin. A goal like write a book might seem straightforward enough when it's first set, but when it's time to act, the goal becomes a huge pit of unknowns. Procrastination soon follows. One way to get beyond this is to focus on the step right in front of you. Once that step is complete, you move on to the next step. For example, if you were writing a book about dieting, the first step would be to create a very simple outline that listed the content of each chapter. Once that's done, the next step would be to take the title of chapter 1 and list 15 ideas that explain that chapter. The next step would be to list those ideas in logical order and then spend 5 minutes writing on each of the 15 minutes. By focusing on each step rather than the whole project, each portion comes together in a logical fashion, and the overwhelming feelings associated with the idea of writing a book are removed. That's exactly how Bob Proctor wrote his books. By breaking big concepts and decisions into little concepts and choices, it allows you to focus and make progress rather than procrastinate because it seems too big for you to accomplish. One solution that people find is effective is to break a large project down into a list of small steps, planning it all the way from beginning to end. These small steps are very basic action items, so small, in fact, that you would be hard-pressed to break them down any further without it being ridiculous. You might have a beautiful dream and write it down. And it might seem like a someday goal or a 5-year goal because it's so big you don't even know where to start. But planning incessantly and never acting will never get you moving in the direction of your goal. The whole point of prioritizing and evaluating is to act, and you must act. Time is your only non-renewable resource. If you have the goal of becoming a New York Times best-selling author or writing a book that will get people to notice you, instead of putting that off, instead of putting writing a book on your big wish list, what about just jotting down headlines? What do you want to say? Get it down on paper. You might give yourself 15 minutes a day just to do a mental dump, write everything down on the page, get it out of you onto paper. Lack of time is really a lack of priorities. When you set a system to prioritize tasks and evaluate your choices, you can decide what is something that you're willing to give up in order to accomplish your goal. Maybe you have a habit of coming home from work, turning on the TV, and just vegging out for a half hour, and that might turn into a whole evening. What if today you decided, I'm not turning on the TV, I'm just going to write. I'm going to write about what it would be like if my goal was achieved. Are you going to be healthier, fitter, happier, wealthier? Will your book be published? And if so, what is the goal? To attract more clients? To just get a story out of you? To tell the world something important? Action is the key. Time is your only non-renewable resource. Take the time, first of all, to get into the state of being already accomplished, already retired and doing what you love, already a world-famous published author, an inventor that has changed the world. What does that look like? And how are you going to feel when it's accomplished? Use that as a destination. That's where you're going. It's not someday, it's within the next 6 months. Write it down, put a date on it. Maybe you want to put December 31st, 2026. What do you want to accomplish? Write down your purpose, and then write down any ideas that come to you that are tasks to accomplish. Make them priorities. Rather than wasting your time, start spending your time doing whatever needs to be done to make that beautiful goal a reality. I want you to think from the end as if it's already accomplished, feeling as if you're there. How would it feel? And then get on with the work. As you take action, you get a different reaction from the world, from the universe. What you put out comes back to you. Do something differently today. Do something that will get you one step closer to your goal, to living your purpose. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. For my clients, I'll see you back here at 9 o'clock to talk about persistence, closing the gap between what you know and what you do to change your world. And I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 for another round of morning mindfulness. Thank you.